Hey everybody, welcome back to the farm. I'm Christine and this is Cabin Creek Homestead, where my husband and I are beginner first generation homesteaders, and we have 10 acres that we want to turn into a beautiful farm. What we have been doing lately is letting our goats come out to this area right here to graze down a whole bunch of woody, shrubby junk grass. I'm going to be completely honest, the first time I ever saw goat grazing was in the movie Hercules. How many of you guys remember this scene? I would love to have that many goats that like collaborate and decide that they are going to walk in a line and yum, 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 all the way through. But I have two goats and they are miniature goats at that. So I wanted to know, is it really going to be profitable to try to use them for weed management? And it worked. So this is basically how I did it. I have, oh, Judd, he's demonstrating the wonderful earth anchor.
Does the garden have rows have to, does the garden
Okay, so Judd wants to know, the goats have obviously eaten down this area right here, but what about behind there and what about over to the side? So Judd, to answer your question, we're going to move the earth anchor a little bit over and then tether them again. So let me explain how I tethered the goats. I bought 2 earth anchors from Tractor Supply, and these are long metal posts. They're about 3 feet tall, and they have a little auger at the very bottom of them, and you twist it down into the ground to anchor it. As you can see, here is the earth anchor right here, and it has this wonderful, glorious metal loop right here, and this is the ring that attaches their tether to it. So this is welded shut right here, so it's nice and strong, and it simply sits on it like that, and then their tether has a clip on it that attaches to this end. This makes it really important so that I can make sure that they can go in an entire circle all the way around without getting hooked up and without it winding on top of itself and creating a really short tether. And I set 2 earth anchors because I have 2 goats and 2 goats only, and I placed them maybe about 20 feet apart. That was so that they could see each other and greet each other and maybe say hello, but not get caught up in each other's tether ropes. That would possibly lead to them choking themselves. So I have done a little bit of research on tethering your goats for weed management, and there's a couple different ways you can do it. You can do it with a mobile electric fence system, and that is not something that I need right now because I only have 2 goats. If I had, let's say, 25 goats and I was doing this full time, absolutely that would be a worthwhile investment for me. But I only have 2 goats, and it takes them quite a bit of time to get one small section eaten down. It took them about 6 or 7 days to eat down this area right here. So I looked at tethering, and with a few safety precautions in mind, I decided that this would work for us. Those safety precautions are this: you don't want your goats to be able to get tangled in each other's tether lead ropes, and you definitely want them to be able to walk around in a circle without their tether becoming caught or wound up in their earth anchor. You also probably do not want to put them in a place where they are vulnerable to any predators. So that means I didn't leave them out here at night because we do have coyotes, and there are some dogs that are pretty aggressive around here. So I set up a chair the first day. Actually, we had a full picnic the first day that we let them out here so that I could observe and make sure that the knot that I tied was safe and strong, and it was. I was very proud of my inner Girl Scout, and made sure that they were not getting tangled. So for the next several days, I had a clear view of them out all of my front windows and my front door, so I would check on them periodically and then put them up at night in the barn where they are perfectly safe with their sweet protector donkey. So this area, I wanted to graze down this specific area because you see this as you're driving into our property. My barn is right here and my house is right here, and the gathering place where we are going to be putting picnic tables is right here. Being such a predominant spot means this is an ideal place for a garden bed, and I think the very first thing that I want here is a sunflower field. And I have these 2 foot tall, they are petite sunflowers. I forget the name of them. I'll throw it up on the screen. And I have dreams of planting a whole field of them surrounding our beautiful overhang right here, which I've been calling the gathering place, because this is where I want all the picnic birthday parties to happen. So the next step after this part has been grazed down, which it has, the next step is to kill off this grass completely so it cannot grow back. If it does grow back, then their goat grazing was a little bit pointless because then they would have to do it all again. I definitely want this to turn into a garden bed. So my next step is to lay down cardboard. We moved here in November, so I saved all of our moving boxes. What I'm gonna do now is lay boxes down. I'm gonna use landscape staples. They look like big U nails, almost, I guess you could say, and secure them in place. Then I'm gonna put compost and fertilizer on top of it. And the fertilizer, my horse has been working very hard on this fertilizer ever since she moved in. So that's what's gonna go on top of the cardboard. The cardboard's going to kill the grass as well as the trees that were growing in here. I couldn't believe it, but there were tons of Bradford pear trees in here, and they are the bane of my existence. They smell awful, they are invasive, they're a horrible tree for this part of the United States because they are not hardy enough in our winter, and they split and crack, and they were just, they were a crossbreed of unnecessity. That's a new word. So anyway, I don't want them to come back. So by smothering out all sunlight, we're gonna make sure that the system is completely killed. Okay, we're almost finished with this project. It has been really, really hard. Are there easier ways to create a garden bed? Absolutely. But we are working with what we have got, and we are recycling some really important things. So grazing with goats is not fast. It has taken about a week for them to eat this down, but it has done two really important things. First, it's free food for the goats. They do need food and they love to forage. They don't want to be bored, and so letting them forage in a place like this gives them entertainment, and the food is free. It also diversifies their diet a little bit. Also, as they're eating, they are leaving their droppings here, which is going to compost, and that's going to add nutrients into the soil. So for that, I think it's totally worth it. It also was minimal effort to bring them up here every day, secure them to their tether, leave them for about 6 hours, and then put them up at night. That does require me to be home, which I am already, but I did not mind that part of it at all. This part, however, getting this ready for gardening has been really laborious, and the kids and I are dog tired because we've been doing this for what, 2 hours?
Yeah.
It's been at least 2 hours of going back and forth and bringing manure from the chickens
area
coop. That's the word for it, the chicken coop. From the goats where they like to hang out the most, lots of droppings from them, and from the barn itself and from the pasture. Also, what I have done is I have layered my browns and my greens. So for basic composting, you need carbon and nitrogen and water. And so what I'm doing with the cardboard and with the paper is adding carbon, and the nitrogen is going to come from the manure that is here. If you only have one of those elements, you're really not getting the full benefit of a composting system that's going to get good bacteria, breaking everything down and turning it back into usable fuel for the plants that will be planted here. So my next step is going to be to add mulch to this area. This is not pretty to look at, so looking at a nice little empty bed of mulch will be what I need to do, and that way we are not stuck looking at an ugly, unfinished, papery poop garden bed until I plant in it. That's also going to help retain some moisture, and the mulch itself can help to retain heat, which is very operational in adding and helping everything to decompose and turn back into nutrients. So I can't wait to be back here again in the spring in this very same spot, wearing a t-shirt and jeans and planting some sunflowers in this spot. It's going to be great. So planning ahead in the winter means that my spring and summer gardening is going to be even more glorious. That's all for today's video. I will see you guys next time. Have a wonderful day.